Hey guys, welcome back to Chariot Palmistry. We're very lucky today because we've got the great Simon G with us. He's a friend of the channel and he's been on here earlier talking about cryptocurrencies. So Simon G, how are you today?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks for having me in your virtual home again.
Well, thanks for coming back. Whenever you're on our channel before, we always got a great response. People asking, when are you coming back? And your predictions on a lot of the cryptos, they tend to come out right. You've got a really good method here.
Well, nothing's 100%, and we get lucky pretty often. So it's more luck than anything else. But there is a method to the madness. So let's see if we can do some good things today. Hopefully.
All right, fantastic. So we're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies today. Simon G, would you like to take a moment just to talk about Mercury being stationary, and then we can jump straight into this?
Yeah. So by itself, one planet, one thing happening typically is not enough to move the markets a great deal. So Mercury going retrograde or stationary has its effects on our everyday lives, but in terms of moving the markets, it takes more than just Mercury being retrograde or stationary. However, there is something to be said for the fact that this in October, two planets will be stationary, Saturn and Jupiter. And as I was just telling you before, when we were chatting, when planets go stationary, it's when those divine forces, if you will, take a break. That's their picnic time. That's their break time. So if you're asking questions and doing Jyotisha actively during this time, you're likely to get the wrong answer, actually. And in fact, I did this during when I was writing Gambler's Dharma, the book about sports astrology and predicting, we'd predict boom, boom, boom. We'd hit a bunch of games, perfect. And then all of a sudden we'd start getting the opposite result for a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why we're not, it's not just we're losing, the opposite of what we're predicting is happening. Well, that's what happens when planets go stationary. And we had a station in May. Saturn was stationary. And when I say a station, that means a planet appears to just stand still in the sky. It's just stopped. Now, of course, planets are always spinning, but from our point of view, it's standing still. And we give it 1 week for the fast moving planets, but up to 2 weeks for Saturn and Jupiter beforehand for this effect to actually start taking place. So anywhere starting 2 weeks before the actual station, you can start seeing the results of craziness. And so we had a major dip in the markets during that time. Prior to that, last September, we had a major dip in the market, in the crypto market, I should say, when these planets were stationary, and they're about to be stationary again. So there's a lot of volatility coming to this market. And however, having said that, it is not the end of the bull cycle. And both on-chain metrics as well as astrological metrics support this. And so the Cliff's Notes version is we're going to have volatility between now and December, but I believe this bull run is not over. In fact, last August was when I announced, hey guys, a bull run has begun. We were at $9,300 for Bitcoin. I said, guys, this is it. The bull run is beginning. Now, some people say it began all the way back in last March when Bitcoin was 3,000. But I think there was more uncertainty then. I think end of July, August, in my mind, officially things clicked astrologically, and we were headed up. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, Mercury stationary, I don't think means that much, but combined with these other planets going stationary, it indicates volatility, big dips, big rallies. So good for traders, not fun for hodlers.
Sure. Right. So tell us a little bit about how you see the crypto market unfolding over the next few months. So you were saying volatility till December.
Yeah, I think there's, so my prediction from earlier this year is still in play. I predicted that the bull market would go anywhere between January 15th through April 15th. I know it's a big 3-month range, but that people can start getting out of the market, taking their profits. I mean, they should be taking profits all the time. Meaning, if you have a token that's surging, take your profits from that and either invest it in something outside of crypto, like your house, your kids' education, whatever. Or if you want to reinvest it, put it into the tokens that are dumping. So you're constantly taking from the top, putting in the bottom. And then when these tokens that had just dumped, when they go up, you're going to take from the top, it reinvest in the bottom, and then just keep that circle going. So you're compounding your gains. But back then, I felt that January 15th through April 15th was kind of the safe time, in my opinion, astrologically speaking, it's not even my opinion, to begin withdrawing from the market. That being said, I don't think the next bear phase is going to last nearly as long as the previous one, which was maybe a year or two. I think the next bear phase will be anywhere between three months to 9 months or something like that. So 2022 may see a bear dip, but then I think even by the end of 22, we're going to be going up. So the one thing to remember, no one in the world, in this universe, who ever invested in Bitcoin or Ethereum has ever lost money if they held for the full 4-year cycle. Even the 3-year cycle, I think, 3.5, yeah. But let's say 4-year, because Bitcoin halving is every 4 years, right? If you bought at the last peak at 20,000, you've doubled your money. If you bought at this peak at 64,000, if you wait through the full 4-year cycle, you will likely double your money. Now, this is not financial advice. There are no guarantees. This is past performance doesn't necessarily mean it has to come out this way, but that is the history. No one in the history of this market who bought Bitcoin and held it ever lost money over the course of 4 years.
So you're thinking there's another big run up at the end of next year. So what planets are you looking at to cause that?
You know, to be honest with you, I haven't even looked past this spring. I think everyone's so short-term focused in our classes, and so we do a crypto questions answer class, and everyone's like, okay, I need to know when it's going to fall this week so I could buy back in, so I could sell it next week, so I could buy something. No one's thinking about 2023, 2024. And I think to our detriment, because we get lost and we lose the forest for the trees. But yes, I think the latter part of 2022 actually looks bullish, generally speaking, but I haven't looked at specifics. So maybe next time we talk, we can do the kind of that long range prediction.
That's a good idea. Maybe at the end of December or early January.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Yes. And at that time, I think end of December, there's likely to be a nice run up. Before then, there are a lot of issues. Like we've looked at some government interventions, which I think in the long run will be good. There's definitely government intervention coming, but it's going to surprise everyone. It may depress the price a little bit in the short term, but I think it's going to drive the price much higher in the long term, because government oversight to a degree is good, just like with the internet. Clarity of what the rules are is what's needed, and I think that's coming. So anyway, so it's a lot of blah 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 from me, but basic thing is the bull run is not over, not for Bitcoin, not for the altcoins, and some people believe it'll be over before the end of this year. A lot of very talented, good people. I think January 15th to April 15th. That's sort of my target.
All right, very good. So thanks for sharing that. Now, you're also talking earlier about Rahu and its transit, what that could do for certain sounds. So could you tell us more about that, please?
Yeah, so the way I got into Bitcoin was by following Saturn, and when Saturn went into B sound, I predicted Bitcoin would fall, and to the week, to the day, basically, it fell when Saturn hit that sound. So that convinced me, oh my gosh, you know, these planets are affecting the sounds. Rahu is the planet, the north node tends to explode things, tends to make things, it stirs the cauldron, let's say. So when Rahu, the north node, goes into a particular sound, we kind of call it out in our group and we say, look, so a few weeks ago, it went into the sound O. Now, O is also ow. And so we predicted the sound that the Audius would do well, and Audius jumped. It did a 3 or 4x. OMG, OM, like any of the O sounds have done very well since Rahu went in there. Now, Rahu could also be disruptive. So if those projects are good projects, if they have their fundamentals right, Rahu will push them up. It's like a rocket. But if that rocket is not well built, all the pressure of the force of Rahu can disintegrate it. So just because Rahu moves into a sound doesn't guarantee that all of those projects are going to do well. It's the ones who are ready, right? So now it's about to move. It's technically the true node, which is misnamed because the true node is actually also a mean node. It's just a more precise mean node. But the true node is just moved into the sound A. And you've seen projects like Elron kind of explode because that's a fundamentally good project. And I think other sounds A, like Enjin, Energy Web Token, will soon come up. Enjin is a very good one. It's solid. When the mean node also goes in, mean node hasn't come into the sound yet. So in 10 days, so today's September 26th, in 10 days, so what are we looking at? 4 or 5, about October 5th or so of 2021, the mean node will step in. So now the true and the mean node will be in the A sound, which will bring a lot of attention to these A projects. So Enjin Coin, Energy Web, Elron, anything with A. Could even say Ethereum, potentially. Although I think Ethereum will get its boost when Rahu goes into the sidereal sound of Ah, because there's Ethereum, there's the Ethereum, Ethereum.
It depends on your accent a bit.
What's that?
I was going to say, it depends on your accent a bit.
Depends on your accent, that's right. So that's coming later. That's coming next spring. So I think next spring, when Rahu moves into that sound, in fact, I can tell you that will trigger Ethereum in a big way. So I'm going to say it here for the first time. I haven't told anybody this yet. This is exclusive to you. So let me pull a chart. Shall I share my screen so you can see?
Yes, let's get the screen share permissions. 1 second. Yeah, ready when you are.
Okay, nice. So this is the chart, the North Indian chart that we look at. Here is Rahu at the moment, and we're just going to take it forward until it moves out of Taurus, which is basically here. And let's take it, yep. All right, so basically April of next year, Rahu moves into the sound. And so April, May, I think could be huge for Ethereum. It could be that's when 2.0 comes online. I don't know, whatever it is. But, and that'll last for about let's see, 2 months, probably around. Yeah, 2 months through June. Now, wait a minute. I thought you said the market was, well, yeah, but some things overlap. Even in a bear market, some tokens do well, right? Even if Bitcoin goes down, some altcoins go up. But when Rahu enters this, I think it'll be very interesting for Ethereum. So yeah, that's one thing about A coins. And the thing is, even in a bear market, there are projects that are going to do well. So it doesn't mean we leave the market completely. We just have to change our strategy.
Does this work for Ketu as well? I mean, if Rahu pumps something up, by definition, Ketu would have to bring it down, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And when Ketu transits something, it sucks the life out of it. So Ketu at the moment, let's go back to real time here. Ketu is at 10, 11 degrees. It's in the sound ne, nai. So tokens with the sound ne or nai will be detriment. I can't even think of anything that has that sound. But it's about to go into te, do, na, ni. No, sorry, the sound nu is being depressed. Yeah, nu. And it's about to be going to the sound ni. So if you own ni, near coin, anything with the ni sound, it could be problematic. But if you have the chart of the coin itself, so let's say your ascendant is Scorpio, let's pretend, and by transit right now, and let's say your ascendant's around 10 degrees, by transit, Ketu is going to be affecting you very closely. And so you're going to be experiencing crazy thoughts, weird, phobias, like you're going to think you're sick. Oh my God, what is this mole? Is this cancer? Is this cancer? Oh my God, I have to go to the doctor, I have to check it out. Like it just starts working.
Sure.
My teacher used to say that when he hit his Ketu period, he traveled all over India to find a doctor who would prove to him that he was sick. And he went all over. And when Ketu finished, he was like, oh, I'm fine. And he went back home. So Ketu is interesting, yeah. So listen, here's a chart, just for fun. We did this chart on the future of Cardano.
Oh, now, yes.
Which is one of these tokens that is very interesting. And oh shoot, I actually changed it. So let me close this and let me get out of here. Hold on. Because, and I don't want to save the changes. Let me open it again. Apologies for the interruption. Talk amongst yourselves.
Take your time, man. It's all good.
Here we go.
Yeah, so Cardano, we actually talked about last time you were on the channel. And I think we predicted that when Venus went into Taurus, it would skyrocket, and it actually did that.
Oh, okay. I do not remember that at all. So thank you for confirming. I appreciate it. So let's do another Cardano prediction here, since this is definitely one to watch. And I'm going to refer to a chart we did way back July of 2020, when Cardano was about 12 cents. And someone asked, what is the future of Cardano? And this is a very optimistic, a good chart, generally speaking. But then we looked at some timing. So for the astrologers out there, I'm going to give 60 seconds of gobbledygook speak here. At the time, we were in Ketu Saturn, and because that was July of 2020, then we noticed that Ketu Mercury would start September 25th. Mercury's in the 8th house, aspected by a malefic Mars and Rahu. So that should not give good results. However, Mercury is at 28 degrees, which is exactly on the yogi point of the entire chart. So despite 8th house things like secrecy, jealousy, difficulties, this token was meant to go very high during this period. Furthermore, Mercury is the duplicate yogi, which helps further. And now, look at what the next period is. End of September 2021, it goes into Venus. Venus here is quite strong by placement. So it indicates massive, powerful partnerships starting September 23rd. Now, I haven't kept up with all the news, but I did hear that there was some partnerships at least rumored for Cardano.
Well, with Chainlink, I think it's been confirmed now.
Has it been confirmed? Okay.
And I think it had almost timed a couple of days ago, so exactly on the 23rd.
Isn't that amazing? So this is, again, this is a chart from last July, from a year, more than a year ago. And it shows that massive partnerships are coming. However, this Venus is at the end of its sign. It's almost, you could say, in the eighth house. So it's going to come with some like, well, it's about damn time. Why couldn't you do this a year ago? Like people still ragging on it, right? Furthermore, there's a very powerful star, 3 stars at this longitude. One is called Capella, one is called El Nat, and the other is called Meisa in the sky. Now, Capella, no planet could ever actually reach there by declination. If they did, we have many other big problems, like survival of life on Earth potentially. But El Nat and Meisa, yes. So the point of what these stars create is they can be very benefic. They can give you the nectar of immortality. However, there can also be some issues around jealousy and searching, kind of going down wrong channels. Okay, but overall, it's mostly good. Let me go to the chart of Cardano, which we think this is the chart of Cardano. Some people say it's not. It may or may not be. But if it is, we've been going by this chart so far. Cardano's chart itself, look at this, shows September 30th, a brand new massive change coming. A switch from Mars Dasha to Rahu. Now, Rahu in the 12th doesn't look necessarily good, but look, Rahu is the yogi. So whenever the yogi or the yogi point become involved, you get price movement, higher price action. So both the Prashna, the question about Cardano, and Cardano's natal chart both indicate that end of September is a pivotal period. So I'm going to watch what happens with Cardano, but my prediction, within our class, is that Cardano will eventually overtake Ethereum, and I think Cardano has its sights set on Bitcoin and Bitcoin's market cap as well, eventually. So whether that happens in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, I think it's happening. So I think this is a project headed, on its way. But yeah, let's watch and see what happens now, basically this end of this month, because I think there are significant changes and positive changes probably coming. And the price action hasn't necessarily reflected these. There could be a short dip before an explosion up.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because Bitcoin fell off the other day after this Chinese Evergrande crisis hit the news. Everyone's rushing for liquidity. So Bitcoin fell over and Cardano fell over even more. So it's pretty good value by the sounds of things there.
Yeah, given the partnerships that it has, and if that as indicated in the charts, it should do well. But it's not a perfect chart, right? So there's going to be volatility. Rahu in the 12th does indicate secrecy. It indicates, some things being done under the table. It indicates criticism and so forth. But Rahu is very strong. It could
also indicate growth overseas, couldn't it? Like in Africa, where they're trying to?
Most of its growth will be overseas, yes. So Cardano is not dependent on US or American interests, even though Charles Hoskinson lives in the States and Cardano Foundation is in Switzerland. I think this cancer has to do with countries surrounded by water. So that's not Europe. I mean, you could say England, but it's more developing countries. So Cardano will do well in places like Malaysia, Singapore, India, possibly, African countries and so forth.
Yeah, because they've got a lot of work that they're trying to do in Africa, I think, from memory. So that could well be it. This is the time to launch there.
Yeah, and more. So you're absolutely correct. It will come from foreign involvement and adoption of Cardano. So when you get millions more people using that ecosystem, that will tend to drive the price.
Cool. And you think it could even overtake Bitcoin at some point?
Eventually, yes. Yeah.
Interesting times.
It's a crazy, yeah, it's a crazy thought, but let's see what happens. 5 years. Let's see what happens in 5 years. 5 years is not a long time.
Yep. Yeah, for
You know,
sure. For the sort of changes that I mean, crypto's done in even the past 5 years, it's incredible.
yeah, if someone told you 5 years ago, hey, buy a few $100 of this, and in 5 years your life will be dramatically altered in terms of how you can support your family, how you can navigate this world, you would think it's a pipe dream.
I remember a friend, back in like 2015, or actually no, before then, friend bought it 1 Bitcoin just as a novelty purchase. But he never thought it'd be worth anything, so he didn't bother writing down his keys, and he lost it. So there you go.
Yeah, and there are probably about 3 million Bitcoin that are lost. So out of the 21 million, probably only 18 million will ever be in circulation. And out of those, most of those are minted, and there's not much left. So it's getting more and more scarce. But even despite that, I do think Cardano has the potential to eventually even overtake Bitcoin. But
awesome.
Let's see what happens. I'm not trying to sell hopium. I'm just trying to follow the charts as I see them.
Cool. Could you tell us a little bit about Enjin or some of the other coins that you said had that sound?
Yeah, well, Enjin is one. Let's take a look at Enjin here. This is the first time looked at it here in a while. Well, look at this. Enjin is about, I'm glad you bring these up, by the way. If this is the correct chart, I say that because with crypto, having the precise chart is the hardest thing to do. No one knows where Bitcoin, what's the location for Bitcoin. We have the date, the time, but not a location. For many of these others, we have a date, but no place, or we have a place, but no time, and so forth. But if this is the correct chart for Enjin, look at this, baby. Look at this moon right there. Jupiter is about to go station right over its moon. So Enjin should see a massive surge pretty soon. Hopefully, right in time with this Rahu influx in the next 10 days, starting in about a week to 10 days from now. So good time to load up on Enjin, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I've already bought some. So that's just me though.
All right, really cool. And it's funny how even like, brushes or birth charts, they all pretty much give the same information.
Well, yes, one can arrive at the same diagnosis through different diagnostic methods. You go to 3 good doctors. One may be a chiropractor, one may be a allopathic doctor, one may be a herbalist, and they'll all tell you, hey, you have high cholesterol and your heart is at risk. But they'll arrive at that diagnosis in different ways. One will be by muscle testing, one will be by testing your blood, another will look at your tongue and your eyes or whatever, right? But what's important is that they arrive at the same conclusion if they're good trained doctors. That's why people go, oh, Western astrology, versus Vedic. No, they're just different methods designed to arrive at the same goal. Western astrology works perfectly fine. Vedic astrology works perfectly fine. It just depends on which tool you're more handy with, So so now, between now and the next, let's see, when does Jupiter leave? So let's give people a little timing here, because Jupiter transiting the moon of a particular token is very good. And look, they're about to start their Rahu period at the end of this year. And Rahu again is the yogi. Man, big things for Enjin. I think big things for Enjin. So
that's incredible. It's actually looking better than even Cardano.
Well, yes. Now Enjin has far. It's a mid cap, right, or it's even a low cap. It's a far lower market cap, so it's got a much longer way to go to reach. But because of that, it can actually move in bigger multiples. It can 10x, whereas for Bitcoin to 10x, it'd have to go to $500,000, or for Cardano to 10x, it'd have to go to an enormous market cap. So It's more likely that Enjin would. So let's see exactly when Jupiter is going to be there on that lovely moon. So let's go to our time tool. So Jupiter is actually there now. So we should start seeing some price action pretty soon. Jupiter will station. I mean, yeah, just basically all of October. So I think if this is the correct chart, October should be bullish. And then for Enjin, but then if not October, look, it actually lasts through November. And that is when Enjin starts its Rahu period. So look, I'm going to say October. If you don't see anything happen in October, give it November, give it a chance in November. By mid-November, let's see, by the third week of November, we should see some action in Enjin.
All right, very good. And at some point next year, I'm thinking Saturn would be going over that moon point too. So that would depress the price, you think?
Yes, but that's going to take a while. Look, Saturn's at 14 degrees. For Saturn to get to 28 degrees will be, yeah, March, April of next year. Yeah. So right around the time that I'm indicating it's time to pull out, yeah, that would be. So you'd want to get out of Enjin. Look, what I do is I hold several, say a dozen tokens. We don't know exactly when each of them is going to pump. Even if we do, we just keep an eye on them. And when they start pumping, you just start taking your profit. And like I said, if you need the money, put it away and invest it somewhere else, or invest it in the coins that aren't pumping yet. And just keep that cycle going until you're ready to pull out of the market. So it almost doesn't matter when they pump. It's just when they pump, make sure you take your initial investment out and start taking profits on the way up. I mean, it's a simple, stupid strategy, but
well, no, it's not stupid. It's actually really profound, because one thing we all say in spirituality is energy recycles itself. So you recycle some energy out of one coin and give it a rebirth in another.
Exactly. And let's face it, we've all, if you've been in crypto long enough, you face this thing of you ride one token up, like even Bitcoin, and then you ride it all the way down. And it's the worst feeling. It's the worst feeling going, oh, I had $1 million and now I have nothing. And because number one, your friends don't want to hear it. No, but I did. I had it. Okay, buddy. Thank you. 10th time I've heard this story. Just get back in the welfare line, right? Nobody wants to hear it, and it eats you up inside. And it's a great tool for spiritual practice. And part of that spiritual practice, when you do it and digest those emotions, those powerful emotions, it tells you, don't fall to greed. Because the reason people hold on is they're greedy, and they're like, no, it'll go higher. No, I want more. No, keep that, and jump. Right? And you're like, oh man, why was I so greedy? I should have taken profits on the way up. It happens to all of us. It's happened to me. I know it's happened to pretty much every crypto investor.
Yeah. Me too. I'll put my hand up on that.
Yep. Right. We're all guilty. And it's greed, and it's also a sense of hope. Like you're like, oh, well, maybe, it's going to go higher. Yes, look, everyone's buying it. Your voice starts going up higher. And then you get lost in that. So, so I think January through April of next year is a good time to really take profits. You can take profits before that. Like if Enjin coin pumps in November and it's 5x, well, take some. Don't wait till just, well, Simon said, next April. No. Any coin that is doing very well for you, don't be afraid. That's my philosophy. Again, I don't know your situation or anyone else's, and I'm not giving, personal advice of any kind. I'm just telling you from someone who's been in this for a few years now, you don't want to have that regret and those emotions, because they're very hard to digest. And in Ayurveda, things that are hard to digest, digestion is your source of life and energy, and it's going to create stress. It's going to create weakness in your body and mind, and it's too much,
No, no, definitely. Really wise tangent we just went off on over there. Is there another coin that you could sort of highlight for us with that E sound?
So, well, so Cardano, Enjin, one token that I think is undervalued is Avalanche. I've looked at the astrology of Avalanche, which is Avax, I believe, and I believe it's undervalued. It should be in the hundreds. It's only $65, I think, today. So that's a worthy one, and it has that Avax. It's kind of between and A. So it'll see a boost also later when Rahu goes into but I think it'll see a little boost now as well. And I talked about it a few weeks ago to our group that I thought it was undervalued. It was around $50, I think. So that's a good one. And another, if you're have a little bit of money to invest in asymmetrical bets, which are more of a gamble, Miami coin. Miami coin is a city token, so that when you invest in it, part of the proceeds, or when you mine it rather, part of the proceeds go to the city. And so far, Miami coin has raised $6 million for the city of Miami, which the mayor of Miami has accepted. And he's gone on TV. It's been on the news, national and local news, how they're supporting this Miami coin. That one is a potential asymmetrical bet because it's about 3.5 cents right now, and I think it has a potential to go a lot higher. The other thing is Miami coin you can stake. Now, full disclosure, I own some of this because I have some as an asymmetrical bet, and I looked at the chart. But these things tend to be volatile. But one thing you can do with it is you can stake it and earn 430% annualized yield. It's through OK.
30%. Wow.
No, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And you're paid that yield in stacks, in block stacks, in a different token, which is also a very good token. Block stacks is a solid coin recommended by Tika Tiwari and a bunch of other crypto gurus. But yeah, you earn 430% yield by staking that token. I could probably show, let's see, Miami coin yield. Let's see what they show us here. I don't want to go to the actual exchange because it's got my information on it at the moment.
That's okay. Our followers can Google it themselves. Miami.
Yeah, but this is it, Miami coin, and you've seen this is the mayor talking about it, and yeah, there's a 430% yield offer. So, and there's nothing you really need to do. You just click on a button that says you're staking it, and you can do it for 2 weeks at a time or 6 months at a time.
Cool. So you're effectively
betting on a city. 430%. Sorry?
You're betting on a city, basically. Is that the gist of it?
Well, yes. So what people can do with this Miami token is they can program on top of it. So, for example, you can pay, if you pay at this laundromat with Miami coin, you get a 50% discount. Or if you own Miami coin, you get in for free at this nightclub. Or like there are certain ways that it can be programmed functionality. Like maybe you pay your gas bill with Miami token and you get certain incentives. So right now there are hackathons. There are people programming, because this just came out. It came out a month ago in August, so it's brand new. So its utility hasn't been fully explored yet, but the creators of these city tokens, San Francisco is next, by the way. So maybe Sydney is coming soon. Not maybe, I'm sure it is.
We'll probably be 10 years after the Americans, I reckon.
No, not necessarily. Sydney, it's starting in the big cities that are crypto friendly. But so we don't know what's possible yet. So that's why I say it's kind of a gamble, because this is brand new. It doesn't have any proven track record, but it has promise. And that's it. It has astrological promise, has some technical promise, but in the end, it's still a gamble. Let's be honest. So, but even the 430% is kind of crazy. So I've staked mine. It hasn't been 2 weeks yet, so I want to see. As soon as it comes out of the 2-week period, I want to see how much I've earned. I'll calculate and I'll let you know.
All right, awesome. Well, on that note, thank you very much for coming on the channel once again, Simon G.
Sulabh Ji, you're amazing. I really value the work you do, both in palmistry and in crypto and in world predictions and so forth. And keep up the amazing work. And thank you for having me. And sorry it's so dark here, by the way. It's evening time where I am, but it is what it is.
Well, it's the message that you're delivering that's more important than your presentation. So thank you once again.
Okay, and please, guys, do your own research. The charts never lie. It's the people who look at the charts. And you see, I wear glasses, and sometimes the glasses get foggy, and I miss something. Please do your own research. I try to convey what I've seen as accurately as possible. However, I'm not always accurate, and so please don't, think that, don't hold everything I say to by that standard, because we'll all fail. All astrologers are at best 70% correct. We were, there's a long story about that, how the gods cursed astrologers long ago. So at best, we're 70%. Just keep that in mind. And
true. And it actually takes a lot of humility to admit that. I know people who've made a fortune in this Bitcoin run, and I know people who've lost the shirt off their back during this Bitcoin bull market too. So you have to look at your own karma and what it is that you're putting out into the world to figure out what it is you'll receive out of it.
Yeah, it is amazing. Some people have made most of their money in the bear market, believe it or not, meaning they can make money anytime. And some people, even under the best circumstances, when everything is flying up, they'll manage to lose money. So it really depends on the period you're running. Is this right for you? And those are the first questions to ask before going, hey, which is the right coin? It's, is this a good time for me?
Yeah. Wonderful. On that note, thank you once again, Simon G.
Thank you, and namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hari Om.